attended a workshop, which I guess most of you may have heard of, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That was a very inspiring workshop, and I still remember the trainer until today. His name is Mr. Michael Lee. He was very engaging. I think at that time you already know about storytelling because he was telling stories as he goes along with the 7 habits, just like what Leslie is always do with us. So we went through each and every one of the 7 habits, proactive, until we reached the second one, begin with the end in mind. So Mr. Michael Lee was trying to help us understand what it means by this paradigm. So he got us to imagine. He said, imagine that today is your 80th birthday celebration. You have invited people to your birthday celebration, and they're going to make tribute statements to you. Who do you want these people to be, and what kind of tribute statement do you want them to say about you and your influence in their lives? That activity got me thinking for quite some time, because I have to think about the roles I play, who I want, and all those things, right? But in total honesty, despite the cost being a company-sponsored cost, I wrote something that's totally not work-related. This was exactly what I wrote. I'll zoom it up later. But in the first column, it's the roles and relationships that I hold, and the tribute statements that I would love the person to make. So for the first one, it's my role as a wife. And the relationship, or the key person, is of course my husband. And the statement that I want him to make actually is, my wife has allowed me to concentrate on my career at a time when I needed most. She took good care of the family, my daughter, or our daughter, and me. Then in the second role, I actually put my role as a mother, and my key person would be, of course, daughter. And I hope that on my 80th birthday, she's going to say something like this. Thank you, Mommy, for taking good care of me, bringing me up to what I am today, teaching me how to love myself because you love me and taught me how. After I wrote this, I got very emotional. In fact, every time I read this, I would still have goosebumps. Then, after a while, I flipped the page. And at the end of the next page, there was this statement. Deep down in every human heart is a hidden longing, impulse, and ambition to do something fine and enduring. I don't know who this lady is, but I thought, impulse, that must be an impulse, too emo, alright? I've still got a job to do, let's get on with life. So yep, life goes on, even after I wrote my tribute statements. I was a full-time working mom, and by that definition, it means I hold a full-time job and I have to take care of a child, or children, depending if you want to count your spouse in as another child. So, I am a type A person. So for those who don't know or haven't heard about this type A, type B personality theory, it's actually a personality theory devised by 2 cardiologists that it says that type A person are those people who are ambitious, impatient, perfectionist, have very high expectations of themselves and of others. Basically, this kind of type A person, they have a higher chance of developing heart disease. So yeah, I am a type A worker, I'm a type A mom, I'm a type A wife, trying to do my very best in every single role that I'm playing. And that only has one outcome, stressed out, both physically and mentally. Luckily at that time, I had a very understanding boss. Her name is Josephine. She was very kind to me. She taught me a lot of stuff, and in fact, she's my mentor until today. But good things never last, right? Towards the end of 2013, one day she brought me to a room and said, Joey, I have to leave Republic Poly because I need to find back focus in my life. I don't see any meaning in what I'm doing right now. Of course, I was very sad. A good boss is leaving. But her departure also set me thinking, so what is my focus in my life? Again, very fast, those thoughts were pushed away, pushed out by looming deadlines of publications, my events coming up, project meetings, etc., etc. Very often, those thoughts will come back when times like my daughter fell sick and wanted me to spend the day with her at home. working moms will definitely identify with me this feeling called guilt. The guilt of not being able to satisfy your child's needs. So there I was having a mental struggle, a tug of war of trying to be a good worker, trying to be a good wife, trying to be a good mother. So anyway, I continued with this struggle. So Josephine left and in came the new boss, who I shall say have a very different working style from Josephine. I shall spare you her very, very interesting stories. Just the last one that made me pull the trigger. I was holidaying in Penang during the year end, okay, and very happily eating my asam laksa and chendol, and even having a family portrait session organized. And suddenly my phone rang. New boss. I hesitated and then I ignored. Maybe she dialed the wrong number. Maybe she was looking for my colleague. Then it rang again. And then I ignored again. Then I thought, I'm officially on leave, right? And then secondly, because I thought, hey, I don't want to pay the expensive overseas roaming call charges, you know. So I texted her and asked her what happened. So in her reply, she said that, oh, there's this publication that I was in charge of that's due for printing, and she realized that there is a lot of mistakes and she didn't like some of the pages. So I was scratching my head, you know. Before I left for my leave, I had completed this project, got her approval, and it was already at the printer site ready to be printed. I was wondering, so all this while, was it a sudden realization that you didn't like the pages? Or, I don't know what you have been reading when you send your approvals to me, you know? So, anyway, I told her, yeah, please do whatever you think necessary because I couldn't work from Penang. Feeling undermined, disappointed with the kind of trust in terms of working relationship, and of course, exhausted as well with that mental struggle and tug of war, I decided to call it a day. So I quit. Now, sometimes the difficult part is not making the decision, but rather to face the consequences of your decision. I had to let my parents know that I'm now jobless, right? So I told them, I broke the news to them, and I will never forget my mother's reaction. She was frowning and uttering some words to the extent of, what a shame. Now, let me explain. I grew up in a very traditional Chinese family. I was the youngest in the family out of the 4, and fortunately or unfortunately, I am the brightest in terms of academics, alright? So I went to a good secondary school, junior college, graduated from NUS, basically the ideal route that any Singaporean child would love to go at that time. So my parents were very proud. They waited for like 35 years, right? Because the first one couldn't make it, second couldn't, third couldn't, and then finally we got 大学生, you know, in Chinese we say graduate, right? Finally we have one in the family. So to my mom, quitting my full-time job is giving up my entire career. It's forsaking, like wasting my education, and to her, I was a letdown. Actually, I could understand how she felt because that was somehow how I felt about myself too at that time. Remember the mental struggle that I told you about, the tug of war? I thought it would end, you know, after I quit, you know, since I can now focus on just one role, right, as a homemaker. It didn't. Ironically, it stayed on in another manner. Let me put this into perspective for you, okay? Imagine just now I came and I said, hi, I'm Joey, I'm a housewife. What would your image of a housewife be like? Let me help you. Or I came in and I said that I'm a communications manager in Republic Polytechnic. What's the image of a working executive? Let's face it, being a housewife is not as glamorous as a working executive. The type A person that I am refused to let go of my professional self. So what I did, I took on part-time jobs, many part-time jobs. At one point in time, I was holding 3 part-time jobs, easier than I was a full-time mom. was a resume editor, I was a part-time executive assistant to the CEO, and I was also an adjunct lecturer at Republic Poly. And I even took out a master's program. Okay, so all of this because I wanted to feel relevant. I wanted to feel useful and recognized for what I can do besides child-minding and doing housework. And this mental struggle, I realized sometime later that it actually has a professional psychological term to it. It's called ambivalence or sex role ambivalence. Peggy Orenstein, a New York Times best-selling author who writes about women and girls and their emotional well-being and psychological state. She was doing a research with a lot of American women at one point in time before she wanted to publish a book. So she went around interviewing these women, asking them about their feelings regarding career, relationships, and their views about having a child and raising a family. So most of them express mixed feelings. They say that while there is enormous gratification in being a mom, they feel, I quote, they feel crap because they don't have a career. So to that, Peggy Orenstein had this conclusion. She said that ambivalence may be the only seen response to motherhood at this juncture in history, to the schism it creates in women's lives. Bingo! That was exactly how I was feeling. It identified with me straight away, and immediately I felt better. I was normal. I'm not going crazy. Alright? I'm just like anybody else. So, probably I have always believed that family is a very important building block in a child's development. In fact, it is the most important building block. And subconsciously, I think that made me write what I wrote in my tribute statement, although I didn't realize it at that time. Now, I see it in my work in Republic Poly, and I see it in my own family. In Republic Polytechnic, when we have students who are having issues with academic or issues with behavioral or attitude problems, more often than not, they have another big host of problems at home. Look into my own family. I have two elder brothers, those two who can't make it to uni. They are both taxi drivers, not well-to-do, not highly educated, but they have very different views of family values. My eldest brother, he values family a lot, and you could see that he worked hard, not just to feed the mouths in the family, but he tried to make the family a very happy environment. And to all his credit, his son, my nephew, is a promising young man now, serving NS and coming to NTU next year. However, on the other spectrum is my second brother, who has no notion of parenting, no notion of family values. All he was busy with was trying to make ends meet for his family. And his two children had a lot of issues in terms of academic, in terms of behavior during puberty. And sadly, they are now living separately because my second brother is divorced. Mother Teresa said this: I think the world today is upside down. Everybody seems to be in such a terrible rush, anxious for greater development, for greater riches, and so on. There's so much suffering because there's so very little love in homes and in family life. We have no time for our children, we have no time for each other, we have no time to enjoy each other. In the home begins the destruction of the peace of the world. My goal in life is not about world peace. My goal in life is just to keep my family happy. Sometimes in our life, we are so preoccupied with the daily routines that day in, day out, we're just trying to do the best in the many roles that are placed upon us, that we are sucked into this spiral called society. If someone were to ask you, what do you want in life? You may give a very straightforward answer like happiness, I reach my 80th celebration, is going to be a long road. And I believe once in a while, I will still be experiencing the new term that we just learned, ambivalence. And whenever I do that, I'm being reminded of my tribute statements that I made in that 7 Habits workshop. So